before I begin, I'd like to ask all of you a question, a very basic question. Has any one of you ever come across an incident or a premonition sort of happening where you already knew what was going to happen, where there was something deep in your heart that was striving to tell you what is going to happen? Any one of you? Nobody? Well, this is where we need to drive the change. This shows that we are not spiritually sound. Let me tell you my incident with sensations and intuitions. We have a pet dog named Frosty because of its white, snowy appearance. And we just got it 4 months back. When we brought it home, it was approximately 1 or 1.5 months old. And everybody at my home was very delighted, was very happy to have him home. My brother, my elder brother, who had his childhood dream of having a pet dog, finally fulfilled his dream. And he was, needless to mention, he was actually flying on cloud 9. Everything was going so well. But one night, after a month, he started puking, he started vomiting, he turned pale, and he was restless. It was our first experience with a pet dog. We did not know what to do. We turned all panicky. We quickly telephoned the vet and drove him to the animal hospital. The next day, what we get to hear is appalling. Our dog's mother passed away. And eventually, she lived her last breaths the same moment our dog had been puking, had been vomiting, and had been so restless. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, is this a coincidence? Or is it a connection between two souls? Is it a link between two blood relations? Is it spirituality? When we talk about soulmates, we actually talk about growing of two individuals into humanity. We talk about growth of two individuals in terms of their spiritual essence. We talk about complementing each other's qualities. The qualities of one individual are enshrined by the latter. And this is done by a tiny little source of light, a tiny enough to reside in our bodily structures, but big enough, huge enough to overcome all our limitations. My dear friends, I know when I talk about spirituality, it is not a very easy word for you. It has many implications and so many associations. But there has to be something, some word associated to 13 billion years of cosmic evolution. There has to be one word for 4.5 billion years of life on our planet. There has to be something. And even if there is 0.009 or 0.001% of having something known as spirituality, something which makes us realize who we are, something which gives us the essence of our capabilities, our potential, then why do we give it? Why do we give it up? Why do we overlook it? We need to delve deep down into its secret. Because, my dear friends, we can only work, we can only put up our capabilities, we can only look out to evolving as great individuals only when we realize who we are, only when we realize the potential of us as individuals. Well, I'm not a spiritual leader, nor am I a great, sage of knowledge, and nor have I read too many books on spirituality. But there is something about it which endears it to me. something about spiritual science which endears me to it, and that is that it introduces me to my hidden potentials. It is an interface to all of our capabilities and our talents. It is the bright source of light in this dark universe. My dear friends, let us jump to statistical data. It is said that the energy possessed by a soul, the tiny little source of light that I was talking about, it is equivalent to 12 times the energy of our brightest star, the sun. Does that make us feel better? You know, you can do so much when you realize what your potential is. We need to grow as individuals. We need to evolve. We need to drive a change. As a dancer and as a student of class 12th, it has always been a chaos for me to handle so many things together. But among all these things, when I dance, when I perform, it brings about a sense of satisfaction in me. And when I meditate, I connect myself to the supernatural power. And that supernatural power gives me its power. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to realize the power of meditation. Dear friends, we as the world have always linked every aspect of our lives. Even our subjects, even what we do, so many things are interrelated. And it is spiritual science that interrelates it, that links all of the things together. It is spiritual science that does it. My dear friends, we need to realize the importance of meditation. The supernatural power that I'm talking about, you may not believe it. Nobody believes it. It is a very less talked about issue. But when we delve deep down into the secrets of meditation, when we delve deep down into the essence of spirituality, we realize the true essence of ourselves. We identify ourselves. We identify our capabilities, and we widen our horizons. Ladies and gentlemen, in the words of Brother David, spirit is something which we happen to realize when we are filled with our mind and body. Spirit is said to be the breath of life. Spirit is something which we can all experience. When we meditate and we concentrate from our toes to our mind, we tend to leave from our body. We tend to depart our energies from our body. That is the peak point of our body. And that is said that that is the point when we are actually connected with the cosmic universe. That is the point when we actually get to know ourselves. Spirituality is not about only relating ourselves, connecting each other, but it has medical applications as well. My dear friends, of late, it has been researched that spirituality can actually diagnose diseases, minor diseases from the start, but in collaboration with the laboratories and medical institutes, wonders can be done. We know that our lives as humans are so important. We are the foundations of the universe. As we expand, the world expands. As our efforts expand, the globe expands. And for the globe to expand, our vision should expand. Our knowledge should expand. And that comes with the power of meditation. That comes when we, as individuals, connect to the tiny little source of light, when we acknowledge the presence of that tiny source of light, when we get to know ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, meditation is a practice which will not only help us rise above our horizons, but it will make us aware of the world. It is a practice which is above all sciences. It is often said that spirituality and science are two faces of a single reality. Two faces of a single reality. Which means that science gives the reason behind what happens. Spirituality gives the philosophy and the feeling why it happens. I know many of you would not believe it, and the medical people are still into it, and they are still researching about the relation between mind, body, and soul. But we know that the daily instances of our humanly lives, the daily practices that happen, the daily instances that we go through, they tell us deep in our hearts, there is something which drives us all. Most of the changes that come within us, that cause changes, are usually the external factors. We're not satisfied with something, we are compelled to change. We are not satisfied with another thing, we tend to reform it. But spirituality is something which brings about a change from the internal. It is one among very rare factors which helps us make us realize who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that if we are constantly told that we cannot do a particular task, if we are constantly demotivated, if we are not inspired, if we are devoid of any source of motivation or encouragement, we might have to stop at a particular point. We might not be able to carry our lives forward. We might not be able to continue the practice of what we are doing. And that is when we need to connect ourselves with the supernatural power. Let us give it a try. The great power of meditation, let us give it a try. You should know how it feels to develop this sense of connection with something so great that it finally introduces us to who we are. There was this great old saying in Hindi which goes that whenever a person dies, is said, "वो बंदा पूरा हो गया." We always happen to pronounce this whenever somebody dies, "वो बंदा पूरा हो गया," which means that our body, our soul, is a tiny source of light. It is incomplete within ourselves. And when we die, when we impart from our bodies, when we impart from our bodily structures, that soul goes up and meets with that supernatural power. When it unites with that supernatural powers, it gets completed. This is the logical reason behind meditation. This is the reason behind which we get to know what our power is. This is the reason why so many people feel empowered when they practice meditation. Practicing meditation is not only about developing a sense of connection with the Almighty. It is not only about introducing ourselves, getting to know about ourselves, but it is about rising above what we know. There have been so many success stories, so many glorious moments, and many of them reveal their contribution, their success mantra as meditation. People say that when you wake up early in the morning at 5, you feel energetic. You feel more willingness. You're more determined to do. That is the reason, because early in the morning, the sun is at its peak. It shines brightly. And if sun is a source of energy, our soul is also a source of energy. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to know who we are. We need to know our capabilities. We need to establish ourselves as souls, as great souls. Our bodily structures are mere bodily structures. They are not who we are. Our hair is not who we are. Our looks are not who we are. Our clothes are not who we are. That tiny little source of light that resides within us, that is who we are. And only when we get to know who we are can we perform. Can we perform well enough to overcome all our foundations, to overcome all our inhibitions, all our hindrances. Yet, ladies and gentlemen, we need to grow as individuals. We need to resonate with each other. We need to practice spirituality. We need to merge with the nature. And that's when we'd be driving a change. Thank you.